Hey everybody, welcome back to Tech Odyssey. So today I'm here with my 72-hour review of the brand new iPhone 13 Pro. The most elusive phone in the market right now because they're kind of hard to get. But fortunately I pre-ordered mine, I got it day one. I've been using it as my daily driver. I took my SIM card reluctantly out of my Z Flip 3, my most favorite phone, to test this out. And largely it's been a positive experience. I have an iPhone 12, I use it to record my videos with, which is kind of why I got this one. But so far, I'm not going to spoil it. Let's get into the video and I'll talk about it and tell you what I think about my experience with the phone so far. But before we get into that, I do want to say if this is your first time stopping by the channel, thank you for being here. I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to watch the videos that I've made. It means a lot. And if you enjoy it, I'd ask that you please hit the like and the subscribe button. It really helps with the channel, at least from what I told. They're probably liars, but whatever. If you hit those, it makes me feel good. I appreciate it. And you can hit the notification bell if you want updates when I put new videos out, which is every day. Now, let's talk about the iPhone 13 Pro. First off, this is the most pro iPhone Pro ever. Sorry, I had to do that. Tim Cook really got me with that one in the keynote. Of course, it's the most pro iPhone ever. But here we go. It's pretty nice. I have been enjoying using it. It's supposed to have a better battery life than last year's 12 Pro. I had the regular 12. I was getting about 5.5 hours, maybe screen on time out of it, 5 hours, which was largely okay. This is advertised to have 2.5 hours more than last year's. So, yeah, I think it is better. I'm not going to say I got an extra 2.5 hours, but from using it, it's got the ProMotion display, which is okay. I have thoughts on that. The 120 Hz ProMotion display, it's nice. You can tell a difference sometimes, but the problem is that the page flipping and the animations and all that stuff on iPhone are already so smooth. It's not like Android. Android, you can really tell a difference when they turn on the 120 Hz. When it comes to this one, you can tell sometimes, and of course it's an adaptable refresh rate, so you never know at what point in time you're actually getting 120 Hz. And third-party apps are not supporting it right now, which is something that's supposed to be, fixed and come along. But as of right now, if you fire up like a game, you're not going to get 120 Hz. So if you're sitting there going, oh wow, this 120 Hz looks amazing, you don't have it yet in most instances. But when you can see it, it does look nice. And I don't think it's as good as what I get on my Samsung, but I do think that it's okay. Now, battery life, I'm happy with it. Got me all the way through yesterday. I got over 6 hours of screen on time from unplugging it at like 9 o'clock in the morning, 8 o'clock in the morning, lasting me all the way till like 11 o'clock last night. I was happy with that. I don't have any complaints. If I can get 6 hours of screen on time out of any phone, I'm a happy camper because that largely gets me mostly through the day. Performance-wise, it's got the A15 Bionic chip in it, plenty of power. You are not ever going to have any issues with this. It doesn't slow down. It doesn't stutter. It plays all the latest games. It runs anything you want you could possibly throw at it. They've done a good job with that. I mean, you always have mostly a seamless experience when it comes to iPhone. It's been nice using iMessage. Normally, yes, I use Android, so I've got Android messages, whatever, RCS stuff. It's getting better on the Android side, but still, most people I talk to use iPhone. They're not big Android enthusiasts, especially not in my family. So it's nice having iMessage. It's nice having my Apple Card back. I really enjoy using that. Yes, I know there's other forms of payment you can use on Android, but yeah, it's just a nice, comprehensive experience. Like if I were going to use one device, or if you were going to use one device, the iPhone's not a bad way to go. Of course, Android is a perfectly good option out there as well. But today we're talking about the iPhone. Cameras. 3 12-megapixel cameras. A primary, a widescreen, ultra wide, and also a telephoto. You've got up to 3 times optical zoom there now. I have taken a bunch of pictures. I do like macro mode a lot. And you can see here's some macro shots that I did. Fantastic. Normally when you get a macro lens camera, it's on an Android phone, it's 2 megapixels, it might be 5 if you're lucky. This one takes some really solid macro lens pictures. In addition to that, it is a little irritating because as you get close, it automatically turns on and off. There's supposed to be a fix coming later that allows you to enable and disable macro mode when you want to use it. Right now, it's automatic. So as you get close, it uses the sensor and detects the distance, and sometimes it kicks in at a wonky time, and it's really kind of irritating. The big thing that drives me crazy about this camera is that it still does the stupid lens flare thing at nighttime. And I made a video about this. If you have any direct lighting, you have like ballpark lighting, you have anything a bright light source, it likes to pick up the lens flare, especially at nighttime. You can see those little green dots on your screen. One day I hope they can fix that. As of right now, it's been a problem for years. They still haven't addressed it. But overall, selfie camera spot on. You've also got the rack focus now, where you can do the different cinematic stuff. You can shift between one object and another object. It can do it automatically based off of facial detection. It can do it manually if you just tap on the screen. I like it. It's pretty nice. Now, it's one of those things where if you have it, you might use it periodically and think that it's cool. I think it's great if you're a tech reviewer. It's really something neat, or if you're especially doing like a top-down, you're doing some product reviews, you can change the focus on stuff you want to look at. So I think it'll be really beneficial to me. As far as most normal people, if you don't need a pro phone, if you just think that you want to get it because it's expensive, largely you'll probably be fine with the iPhone 13. But if you want these extra things like macro mode, the telephoto lens, and some of that stuff, the ProRes, yeah, there are some reasons that it's a pro phone, and I think it kind of lives up to the name. I think this is really the first time it does, in my opinion. So I like that. As far as the form factor, it's the same basically. The camera module is, of course, bigger, so it doesn't fit in your previous cases. So, of course, they have to do that. So you got to buy the new case, right? So, yeah, it's heavy. And some people are like, okay, we know it's heavy. It's made out of stainless steel. I find that entirely not a good reason. You can have a perfectly good quality phone that's aluminum. You don't have to have stainless steel. This sucker is heavy. It gives me fatigue. Like, just holding it, the way I hold the phone, it's always putting pressure on my pinky joint there. And like by last night, my finger, it goes numb. So that's the reason I don't really care for iPhones. Ergonomically, especially with these flat sides, the way it puts pressure on your hand whenever you hold it, it is a significantly heavy phone. Now, not to say I'm not using the Fold 3 as well. The Fold 3 is still a heavier phone, but it's also, the shape and all that good stuff. I think ergonomically it's better in some ways, even though whenever it is folded, like it's kind of a dense brick. But anyway, that's a story for another day. With the iPhone 13 Pro, I prefer the size, the weight. I prefer the weight and the density on the regular 13 or the 12 as opposed to the Pro. But I needed the Pro this go around. Storage options, you've got up to 1 terabyte. You can get 128 baseline, which I think is great. That's really cool they did that finally. I was going to have a fit if they did, last year 64 was not on the Pro, it was on the regular. But I'm really glad across the board all the iPhone 13s have 128 now. If you're going to get one, I would say get at least a 256. So I know it's an extra $100, but you're going to miss out on some features, like being able to use ProRes at 4K. It will only let you do it at 1080p whenever you do it on the 128. And that's because it's like 5 gigabytes per minute of data for the file size if you're recording video on ProRes. So it would eat up so much. If you did a 10-minute ProRes video, you're talking 50 gigs. If you got a 128 gig phone, that ain't going to go very far. So if you have any inclination of using ProRes, get a 256, ideally at least a 512. That's what I got. And I'm super happy about that because I don't have to pay extra for iCloud storage anymore. I will have plenty of onboard storage, and that makes me happy. So I did pay more money this time. This is the first time I've ever really gotten a much bigger one. I don't need 1 terabyte. I'm sure there are some people out there that need 1 terabyte. It's not me. But yeah, the other thing that irks me, can we please get USB-C? I don't care that much, but using the iPad Pro, using the iPad Mini I just got, it's so nice. I went to plug in my iPad Mini and I forgot it was USB-C. I tried to plug the Lightning in last night and I'm like, oh, this is so great. Now I can use my universal USB. That's what it is, universal serial bus. That's what USB stands for. So if we've got a USB-C, it would make life so much nicer for file transfers, especially if you don't use a Mac computer. Because AirDrop's nice, but if you don't use other Mac products, you're not going to get the benefit out of it. So I wish they'd go that route. Maybe one day, maybe the next time, who knows? We keep hearing about this stupid portless iPhone. It would be just so much simple. And if they actually care about the environment, then they would just give us a USB-C cable because they're so brave for getting rid of the charging cable, but then they create a whole new charging method and charge you more for a different charging brick. So if they actually cared, they would just give us USB-C so we could all use the same cables and we don't need all this proprietary stuff, which just adds more and more stuff. So overall, I think that for what you get, for the money, for the price, it's a very good phone. If you have a 12 Pro, if you don't want the ProMotion display, if you don't want the cinematic mode, if you don't want the macro stuff, there's no reason at all to upgrade. Really, there isn't. Yeah, you have expanded battery life, but largely that's there so you can use 120 hertz, which I haven't noticed a big deal compared to last year's. Like I look at my iPhone 12, I look at my 13 Pro, there's a little bit of a difference sometimes, but it's not as big of a deal as I feel like it is on the Android phones. It feels like it's much more controlled. And then of course with the third-party support not being there right now, maybe in a month or so, once they get that panned out and you really get to experience 120 hertz all the time, one, it'll give you a better indicator of battery life. Because right now, if you're only using 120 hertz on Apple stuff, you're not going to get a good picture of what battery life is going to be. And I don't think anyone's talked about that. Maybe that's one reason why they delayed it, so people think it's got better battery life straight out of the box. But that's just the inner tech conspiracy theorist in me. But anyway, it's a solid phone. If you like iPhone, you can't go wrong with it. It's the best iPhone they've ever made. It's the most powerful iPhone, the fastest, blah, 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 all that stuff. It's a good device. I like it. There's some things that I still don't care about, but at the end of the day, that's Apple, and they're just not going to change. So if you want it, go pick it up. If you can get one, they're very hard to find right now. I was at the AT&T store the other day, and they're like, yeah, this one's backordered till like November. And it's very frustrating. I know there's a chip shortage and all that stuff, but people want to get their phones. I wish that there was more inventory available. So that's all I've got. This is my 72-hour review. Solid product, good performance. I've been enjoying it for the most part, and you probably will too if you want one. So that's all I've got. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave those down in the comment section. I'll get back with you. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like and the subscribe button and the little notification bell if you want an update when new videos come out. Also, you can find me out on social media on Adam J. Matlock at Twitter. Great place to hang out. I'm always there, and you can ask questions there if you find me as well. And as always, thanks for being here. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you guys next time.